Hello, my name is Alan White, and the title of my presentation today is, So Who's in Charge Here? Effective Advisor in Chapter Relations. So just to tell you a little bit about me before we move forward, I currently, as I'm sure all of you know, serve as one of the 3 state directors for the state of Florida, who serve in an advisory and supervisory role to both undergraduate and graduate chapters throughout the state. I personally oversee 3 of our undergraduate chapters, which include the Beta Chi chapter at Bethune-Cookman University, the Epsilon Eta chapter at the University of Central Florida, and the Zeta Delta chapter at the University of South Florida, where I was awarded the 2008-2009 Outstanding Student Organization Advisor Award from the Office of Student Organizations during my time as the chapter's graduate advisor. I am also currently working as the graduate assistant for the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life at the University of South Florida during my second and final year as a graduate student in the College Student Affairs program. My purpose behind this presentation is to help undergraduate chapters and advisors to work efficiently with each other to increase the benefits that both parties receive from these relationships. By previously holding the position of Chapter Polaris, I have a great understanding of the need, the benefits, and difficulties of having and working with a chapter advisor. By also serving as a chapter advisor, I understand the difficulty of remaining in an advisory role as opposed to being a dictator. My hope is that through all my experiences, that by the end of this presentation, each of you will be able to select capable advisors and form and maintain ongoing positive relationships by developing good communication patterns and clear expectations of your advisor. It is also my hope that this presentation will help chapters fully understand the roles advisors are supposed to play and what the advantages of having an effective advisor are. So just to give you a little bit of history, as with all organizations, each has its own dynamic. And given the nature of our fraternity and our relatively young age, it is often difficult to locate adequate graduate members who are still in the area, and even when the chapters do, it is oftentimes a struggle to maintain an effective working relationship between them. It is all too often common for chapter advisors of NPHC organizations to assume the pro-fight role and maintain the attitude that they are in control of the undergraduate chapters that they work with. The NPHC was founded back in 1930 and today consists of 9 member organizations, all varying in size and age, which affectionately make up what is often called the Divine Nine. One thing many of these organizations have and have had in common before pledging was outlawed is a system of humbling their pledges in hopes of attaining deference with its new members, or neophytes as we sometimes call them. This method of pledging has unfortunately continued on at many chapters and has created a detrimental environment, especially in regards to advisor and chapter relations, because in some circumstances, you may have an advisor who believes in the old ways. This presents many problems because it stifles leadership development amongst the chapter and doesn't create a healthy learning environment. So, how do we combat this dynamic? The first step is to choose appropriate and capable advisors from the start. It's easier for obvious reasons to choose an advisor with the characteristics necessary to be a good advisor, as opposed to trying to cultivate them from someone who maybe shouldn't be. Our national organization has some minimal standards as to who is qualified to serve as a chapter advisor, but this should not be your only consideration when choosing advisors. It will be important to establish criteria that your chapter feels is important so that the advisor can better serve your needs. Our minimal standard for being qualified as a chapter advisor as defined by our nationals is outlined in Article 11, Section 1, Subsection 1.1 of our bylaws, which states, advisors to undergraduate chapters must be active financial members of the closest graduate chapter. If in the event a graduate chapter is not within a 50-mile radius, then he must be a financial graduate brother. This alone does not guarantee that your chapter advisor will be able to effectively advise your chapter. So as stated before, it is important to establish criteria that you and your chapter feel is necessary. This may include being more than 3 years removed from your chapter, as this helps with creating a clear distinction of who's undergraduate and who's graduate. This will also enhance the chances that your advisor has acquired some outside resources and networking opportunities, as well as a new perspective on the undergraduate experience. Also, being able to attend all meetings. The advisor should attend all regular and special meetings of the chapter in order to stay informed and available for consultation or to introduce new ideas and suggestions. So now that you have chosen an advisor or have already had an advisor and you are ready to work on that relationship, what's next? It's important that you and your chapter members, especially your executive board, sit down with your newly appointed advisor or already previously in office advisor to determine what your expectations of each other are. But first, it is important to look first at what some of the general roles and responsibilities are for chapter advisors. Some of these roles and responsibilities include possessing knowledge of policies which may affect the organization's programs, which will assist the chapter in cutting through some of the administrative red tape, functioning as a liaison. For example, there will be many times when an officer will need assistance in contacting the appropriate school official, another alumnus, or a resource person in the community. And lastly, monitoring chapter finances. This is especially important to ensure proper record keeping and allocation of funds, as well as a combatant against any foul play. As stated before when I discussed choosing an advisor, these minimums should not be your only standards. You might also expect your advisor to increase its knowledge through reading manuals and new releases corresponding with regional and national offices, and attending meetings hosted by the college the chapter is located at, as well as national meetings. Also, it might be expected that he exemplify the ideals and standards of the general fraternity, as well as serve as an example of continuing and dedicated brotherhood. But that's not all. Chapters have a responsibility to their advisors as well. It is the responsibility of each officer and chairman to contact their advisor on a regular and prearranged basis. Also, all new member and chapter activities are to be planned with the aid and approval of the advisor. And lastly, your advisor is to be treated with respect and courtesy at all times. It is important for the chapter and advisors to remember that when respect and courtesy are shared, responsibilities to each other are easily fulfilled. Through all of these processes, it will be important to be mindful of both your advisor's advising style as well as your leading style. This is important because it will help both sides understand how each other works and how they can or cannot work together. Hopefully through all of these processes, you will have now chosen a fitting advisor, as well as have established clear communication between yourself and the advisor in regards to what your expectations are of each other. If so, you will now be able to recognize the many benefits of having an effective relationship between you and your advisor, such as leadership development. Through personal interaction and program development, the advisor plays a significant role in furthering leadership development and personal growth of members, as well as identifying new leaders for the organization. Some specific development areas that the advisor may enhance are interpersonal/communication skills, planning skills, and organizational skills. Advisors also provide continuity. The turnover of officers and members is often frequent, and at times the only link with the past is the advisor. The advisor helps orient new officers and members to the history and purpose of the group and helps them to build upon it. The advisor can also play an important role in helping members look towards the future by developing long-term goals and communicating those plans to future members. Lastly, advisors can also provide personal assistance to chapter members. The interaction between advisors and members provides a unique opportunity to assist individuals with personal problems as well. Through life experience, your advisor may be able to provide you with insight into a difficult situation, as well as knowledge of campus and/or community resources. With that being said, in conclusion, I hope this presentation has provided you with some useful steps on how you can find and establish a positive relationship between your chapter and the advisor, as well as hopefully some new ideas on how you can enhance your current chapter to advisor relationship.